The band on my Apple Watch, a pin in it broke. So we are going to go to a watch repair place that a local recommended to me. I'm walking through Centro right now, and I'm realizing how small of an amount of time that I have spent here. This is like the main reason I chose the location of my Airbnb, is I wanted proximity to Centro, and I just haven't been coming here, and I'm about to change that. It's about 11 a.m. now, and I've told you guys before, life starts later here in Mexico. You go out for a walk at 11 a.m. and you're an early bird. Okay, here we go. Now, I do not speak hardly a word of Spanish, so I use a ChatGPT prompt to be able to enable two-way live audio translation. When I'm about to go into a place where I have to have a conversation more complicated than just ordering food, I always make sure to have this ready to go so that when we immediately run through my very limited vernacular, I've got this ready to go. Hola, mi español muy poquito habla inglés. Okay, I got a translator here. I have a titanium watch band on my Apple Watch, and the pin that holds the chain to the clasp broke, and I'm hoping you can fix it for me.
Okay, una cocina.
All right, gracias, amigo.
Hasta luego, buen día.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Okay, we just got our watch repaired. 30 pesos, that's about $1.50 US for the repair. Now, I looked into this. In Mexico, for a lot of watch repairs, you could go to a jeweler and get it taken care of. But my band is titanium, and so there was a higher likelihood of them needing specialized tools that a jeweler might not have. So I went to a Rogelio, which I will put. So I'm keeping a map of all of the places that I visit that take care of me, give me good food, good service, awesome experiences. If you want to support the channel, it costs $5 to buy it. You'll be getting lifetime updates throughout the entire run of this YouTube channel, I guess, which is, we're talking a 4-year minimum commitment here. And everywhere I go, pins will be added. Great way to support the channel, and also a great way to make sure that you don't spend your valuable dollars and your opportunity cost on shitty places when you're traveling to some of the places that I'm visiting. So if you want to find that, go down in the description. You'll be able to get a link to the map. I wanted to say like a few words about the people who maybe are worrying about not speaking the language where you go. Okay, so first of all, let me give you a little primer on how translator apps work and how they don't work in some cases. For translation apps, whether we're talking about something like speech to text or speech to speech or text to text, the larger the data sample is for that language, then the more accurate their translations are going to be. So me being here in Mexico, when a huge number of countries speak Spanish, a huge amount of people speak Spanish, there is a lot of training data that feeds the accuracy of your translations. Now, if you compare that to a language, let's say Laotian. Laos is a small country with a relatively small population. It's also the only country that speaks Laotian. And so when you talk about relying on translator apps, the translations you get in Spanish are overall going to be more accurate than what you're going to get compared to something like Laotian. So if you don't speak the language of wherever you're looking and you're tempted to get around with a translator app, just be realistic about where you're going and how accurate the translation data is going to be. You should still go to Laos. You should still have those experiences, but you should just prepare yourself for the reality that it's going to be more difficult than just hitting the button in ChatGPT and being able to seamlessly communicate, at least now in 2025. That's the way it is. Now, for a lot of people struggling with the language barrier, that's part of the experience that they want. And a lot of people who have traveled back in the day or have been traveling for a long time, they lament this technological innovation. They lament the fact that you don't have to struggle with the language the way that they used to. To be honest with you, I think that this is kind of a just what you're after when you travel thing. For me personally, I would not give up modern translation technology for anything. I don't want the obligation of learning the language of a place I'm going to live for 3 months. And I also want to be able to connect with people. I want to be able to have some semblance of confidence that when I go into a difficult or important conversation that requires some nuance, that I will be able to understand and be understood. Other people want the mayhem. I don't know how else to put it. So if you're planning a trip, or if you're planning, a digital nomad route or whatever, I think that you just need to match your travel to the experience that you're trying to have. If you want that mayhem, then the whole world is open to you. Me personally, the route that I have planned kind of has me going from easy mode countries to more off-grid countries. And that's actually fine with me, because I don't need to hide from those difficult mayhem situations. But I don't think I want that life for 4 years either. By the way, just because we're seeing this sign, be ready in Mexico. If you want to use a public restroom, prepare to pay for it. Now, another thing that a lot of people will worry about, and man, I'm actually shocked with how comfortable I am. Tell me if you relate to this, or if I'm just an asshole. When I'm out in public, I think a lot about the fact that we're all in this together. Don't gum up the works. And so I will seek to be as fast and efficient with my, customer service interactions, whatever. I don't want to be the guy holding up the line. I'm also kind of a dick when I see somebody else holding up the line, but that's neither here nor there. Before I came here, I consciously got myself ready to kind of rewire that instinct, because life just doesn't move that same way here. In a lot of places, service is slower, lines move slower. All that being said, number one, if you're worried about you slowing things down for other people while you are fumbling with your translator, just don't worry about it. And I know it's hard and will go against a lot of people's nature from places like the US and UK and Canada. I'm sure US is probably the worst offender. Just don't worry about it. Don't be shy about taking up space. Sometimes you have to, And specifically in Mexico, also remember, it's a slower pace of life. Not everybody's in a hurry. That's not what things are like here. You know what they say about when in Rome. And one of the things that travel can allow you to do is to Learn from and borrow from cultures that aren't your own. Expose yourself to these places and leave behind your conception of yourself. Find ways to make yourself happier and a better person by adapting to local customs and traditions, by going with the flow of life wherever you're at. I promise you, you're gonna be happy you did. I offer a totally free workshop for anybody that's thinking about leaving the country or actively planning to do it. It will save you so much time and research and potentially so much money from a costly mistake. So if you are interested in that, go to wayfindertv.com/workshop, also linked in the description below. In my last video, I talked at length about dealing with inevitable frustration on the road, and I gave some practical tips for how to see yourself through those frustrations. If you want to see that, check it out right here. I promise it'll help, because guess what? You buy an umbrella because you know someday it's gonna rain.